watching The David Robinson Show
on the CoyoteMan Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.
And good evening, and welcome to the David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. Continuing positive people doing positive things to make a positive difference in their lives and in the lives of others. Tonight, I have a special guest on my show, Miss Monique Washington, who decides to come forth. There's a time and a season for everything. So tonight, here's a young lady who's have done some amazing things to be successful, but sometimes some things are not always what they appear to be. So tonight, she wants to tell her story to the world. There's a time and a season, and tonight, a time to come forth. Without further ado, Miss Washington, Miss Monique Washington, how are you doing once again?
I'm doing good, and thank you for having me back, Mr. Robinson.
Sure.
Thank you.
So tonight is a little different. You definitely want to tell the world and my guests about some things that you want to share and that will be helpful information to them.
Right.
So, without further ado.
So, I've been here before, and I'm the president for my association, my community. Mm-hmm. And there were things that I just didn't want to, let out because I felt embarrassed by it. Okay. So just recently, come December the 13th, after a 29-year marriage, my husband had me locked up. He told the police that I hit him with a bat when I did not. We got into a little altercation because, it's hard for me to even still say it now, mm-hmm. to find out that my husband has a drug addiction after all these years. Mm-hmm. I did what I was supposed to do as a wife. Okay. I stayed in, I cooked, I cleaned, I stayed home, took care of the kids, took care of him. When he went to his little binges, I was there to pick him back up, as they say, Black women do. So I did that. And this is the after effect of all these years of what I did to him. When the police came to the house, it was, I've been battling with them getting drug dealers out of our community at mm-hmm. the shopping center. Right. But you come to my house, you can't lock them up, but you lock me up. And then to say you weren't there to see me hit them with the bat, but you still locked me up. Mm-hmm. So, now I want to get this story out to all women. You don't have to stay. The only reason I stayed was for the kids. I've been just declared with a disability. So now I have to put things into plan for survival for me.
So when you think about 29 years is a long time. So a lot of times when you think about the aspects of y'all coming together as one, when do you believe that there had to be some type of warning signs, or did you suppress the situation, or did you just stay in it for the sake of the kids? Or the fact, I'm not going to say that you didn't love them because you had to, but some people stay in a relationship for different reasons. Mm-hmm. So in 29 years, when do you believe there were signs of the addiction?
To be truthful, I didn't. When we first started living together, he just stayed out, and at that time I thought he was cheating on me. And my girlfriend just happened to come over one night, and she said, she talked to him for about 20 minutes at the table, and it was, girl, he not cheating on you, he getting high. Because my parents didn't expose us to anything. We were just sheltered, mm-hmm. We weren't, certain things my parents just wasn't gonna have it near us. And the conversation on drugs was, don't let nobody tell you it's not addictive, because it is. And if you go out there and you get into some mess, you on your own. Mm-hmm. But I stayed because, my cousin said to me once before, she said, never lose you. And that's what I did. I lost me. My grandmother raised me in church. It's mm-hmm. God first, then everything else. But because I loved this man so much, I put him first before everything. And that was my mistake. I have to own up to my mistake. I have to own up to my accountability in this situation as well. And that's, we all have issues and we all have problems. But for him to do what he just did to me, you know, I'm supposed to be your wife, your queen. All I want is for you to love me, trust, to be dependent. You want to be the man of the house. But how can I relinquish that when you've done this to me?
Okay. Before we get to the where we are now in the present, you know, there always a beginning and the end.
Right.
And sometimes we deal with situation a lot of times when they occur at the time. Mm-hmm. But I want to go back to the beginning. You know, when you're talking about being with someone and you say you love this man, and how many kids did y'all have together?
We have two.
You have two kids. Mm-hmm. And love is something that you say you were brought up into church. Mm-hmm. And to understand what love is, we have to first sometimes have an understanding of having a relationship with him for ourselves.
Right.
And I think that sometimes when you don't love yourself, it's hard to love someone else.
Exactly.
And so the staying out all night, was that talked about? Did you sit down or you just accepted that?
To keep peace in my house. And I didn't want my kids to see, you know, because we all know we're human. Mm-hmm. So when you kind of mention some things, it might set him off. So what I did was I suppressed it.
Exactly.
To keep the peace in my house. I would never say anything. You know, I just went along with it, you know, because I didn't want to cause any chaos in the house with the kids there. But as my kids got older, you know, kids aren't dumb. You know, my kids started catching on to certain behaviors of his. And, you know, and it went from there. So now I can't hide it from him anymore. I can't say, well, Dad was working late or whatever, or he decided to stay at the job, or I can't do that anymore because now they're older, and with school and everything that's being exposed to them, they started to catch on. So, you know, they started, you know, Mom, you need to leave. Mom, you know, we got to get out of this.
And how old were your kids or children at that time?
My daughter was maybe about 17 and my son was about 13, somewhere in there.
And y'all have been married how long about this time?
29. It's about, that's hard to say, Mr. Robinson.
Well, I'm kind of going somewhere.
I would say around that time, my daughter was 15. My son was about 12 or 13. So 12 or 13 years. Because we got married after I had my son.
Okay. What I'm saying, Ms. Washington, you know, when you think about somebody that you love and you want things to work, you want a successful marriage. So there was warning sign that you suppressed. What I'm saying, did you ever sit down and talk to your husband? So you just accepted?
I went to counseling for me to learn how to deal with the situation itself, because this is a man who, I guess his ego was, I'm not going to sit on anybody's couch to talk to him. I don't need to talk to anybody. But for me to be able to cope, I did counseling. We did do at one time, we went and did the counseling with the pastor, and we did that for a minute, and some things were revealed, like why I didn't take his last name. Mm-hmm. You know, he was upset about that, or why she didn't get the kids my last name. Well, to me, in a marriage, I need to know your worth. And at that time, your worth wasn't for me to give your last name to the kids, or when we got married, to take your last name, because you were doing it still then. But now it's become a repeat pattern because I allowed it. Okay. And now, after December the 13th, it's, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Well, we can spring forward.
Okay.
We can go and dive into so many different directions with that.
Right.
I think that, you know, personally, you have to set expectations. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's good that before you decide to get married, it's good to have marital counseling. And
yes.
That's not just you, it's on both of y'all.
Mm-hmm.
And so 29 years, here we are now, 29 years. In December, the police came to your house. Mm-hmm. You were locked up. Mm-hmm. So how did that make you feel, not only being a leader in your community and different things that you did to help people, and to seeing the stuff that should have done and others should have been locked up, and here you was trying to do the right thing, mm-hmm. and here you was locked up for mm-hmm. something that you was trying to do. Mm-hmm. So How did that actually make you feel, and what decided for you to come forth with the story?
You know, Mr. Robinson, when they took me out my house that morning in zip ties to the paddy wagon, I felt the lowest that I could feel. But I was also angry because this is a man who said he loved me, but you did this. You took it too far. Whatever reason, was he high that morning? I believe so. I told the police this, and they still, and to sit there for the police to say, we weren't here to actually see it. We have a decision to make, and I'm sitting here telling you I did not do it. What decision do you have to make? And you still come back in my house and lock me up for, why?
Was there a bat around?
The bat was in the room. The bat was in the corner of the room for my son now is 23 years old. He played baseball when he was, right. So I had the bat in the corner. I paid for it, but I would never pick up the bat to hit him. Not that way, because that's just not me. And then you still have the love factor, so that I was angry. This is 29 years of held in frustration, of betrayal, the lies, the deceit, your continued pattern. And then when you come and you talk to me any old kind of way, but now that the kids are grown and I am just tired, and I made the decision to change.
So what would you tell the guests and viewers that are watching, those that are in some form of abusive relationship, whether it be drugs, some form of neglect? What advice would you give the viewers that are actually watching?
I would tell the viewers that are watching, don't hold on to it. And reason I'm saying that is I held on to mine. And then that one day when I said, you know what, I'm just going to let it out. And the more and more I talk to people, you'll find out they have sisters that have been through this. They have parents who have been through this. And I'm not the only one. That was my whole concept. I was the only one out here dealing with a drug-addicted husband, and to me it was shameful. But as I started talking to more and more people, and I talked to Mr. Diggs and Mr. Smallwood, who are great mentors in my life, they was like, no, if anybody out there tells you they're not going through what you're going through, they're lying. But I had to share that story. I had to get it out.
So getting it out, what we're going to do, we're actually going to take a break.
Okay.
And then we're going to come back. I want to talk a little bit more about a plan of action, and where you're going, what you can do, and the availability to get help. Because there is help, there is solutions. And being able to talk about things. I think a lot of times when you suppress things, there's a cliche, ain't no use talking about it or complaining because nobody wants to hear it. Right?
Exactly.
And I say, well, this is my advice. Try holding your water when you got to go to the bathroom. You're going to have problems. And I think a lot of times when we suppress things, it comes out in a negative way or a way that you don't want to come out. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with Miss Monique Washington, who decided to come forth and tell her story to the world.
We must secure our families. KFG Life Insurance Specialist is a company that partnered with 15 of the top life insurance companies to ensure you get the best pricing, knowledge, and products to suit your family needs. Some people believe that term insurance is better than whole life insurance, while others feel the complete opposite. Some may feel like universal life is the way to go, and others may feel it's better to have a whole life policy. The truth is, neither of the products are better. One just may be more suitable for your family. Our life insurance specialists are not biased, as they are partnered with several life insurance companies. This ensures our clients get the best pricing, education, and products that are suitable for their families. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist make these decisions easier for you and your family. Our office is located at Security Square Mall, next to Burlington, in the Coyote Man Show Network. Please call to make an appointment at 443-400-5224 or go to www.lifeinsurancespecialist.org. That's www.lifeinsurancespecialist.org. Let KFG Life Insurance Specialist help you prepare your family in the present because the future is not promised. Act now.
You're watching The David Robinson Show.
On the Coyote Man Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.
And welcome back to the David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. For the viewers that are watching, don't forget to download your Coyote Man Show Entertainment Network. For those who got iPhones and Apple phones and iPhones, go to your App Store and you're able to catch us. So back to you, Miss Washington.
Yes.
Miss Washington. So I would say, at this point, you decided to come forth with your story, and you want to be able to help other folks that are been in the same predicament or dealing with the situation that you dealt with. So, what would be the first thing that you would say to someone that is actually watching and really don't know what to do in the situation that they're in right now?
I would say first you need to, if it's that volatile or whatever, get out now. And the reason being is you don't know where the other person's mindset may be. And I definitely wouldn't want to see nobody end up somewhere that they shouldn't be, I'm saying dead or whatever, or even in jail for a couple of hours. It's not worth it. Just get out. If you got somewhere you can go. I didn't think when it happened, the old saying, you'll know who got your back. And I was really, really shocked at who had my back. And it empowered me because I'm like, okay, if I got these people behind me, giving me that leadership and that guidance to move on and to start setting things up for me to get out, I need to do that. I also felt it happened to me because, God has his own way of sending messages. And I honestly think I went through that because I didn't move when he told me to move before. So and I don't look at it as a punishment. I just look at it as an awakening for me. I'm not going to tolerate the same things from him anymore. He's having a hard time dealing with it. That's not my issue no more. It's his. You had a good wife. You didn't appreciate me when I was there. So now it's, I consider myself to be a free bird now. I go and do what I want to do. I don't owe you that spousal thing. You broke that when you had me locked up. But I would tell any woman, if you can get out now. A lot of us lose ourselves for these men that don't have a clue as to what it is to be the man of the household. I want to be dependent on you. All I wanted was love. And I was firmly believing that if you loved me that much, you wouldn't be doing this. But it's his issues now.
Well, there's a couple of nuggets I basically want to kind of give some advice on. Because I definitely have a men's ministry that I've been doing for years. And I'd say there's a difference between being the head and being priest. Every man is head because he's a man. But every man ain't priest because he don't have a relationship with Christ. Just because you go to church doesn't make you have a relationship. And I think that love is something that if you don't have that experience at home, you don't see a mom and dad, or you don't see a man that's praying, or a man that's really taking care of his wife or showing her love. Sometimes that daughter, that the females look for love in the wrong places. And sometimes when you say, hey, I want to marry this man and I love this man, but when you don't know what love is, it's kind of hard to experience love, because it can be in a form of abuse, a form of any type of affection. And with physical, you assume that to be love, and then you accept that. But that's not what love is, in a sense, because a good man, a man that loves his wife, is going to love his wife as Christ loved the church, meaning that he's willing to take care of her. He's willing to be there for her and his children. But that comes with a whole lot of dying and a whole lot of responsibilities on both ends, because a relationship takes work. Right.
Yes, it does.
I just say to you, that disease that he's dealing with, he has to want to get help. It's just like you had to want to get help for the situation that you in. And I guess it took to this point, and I'm glad it didn't take another point, because it wouldn't have been no recovery for that.
Exactly.
But the fact that you decided to make a difference, and if this gentleman decides to get help and turn his life around, would you consider reconciling?
No, I'm done. I'm tired.
Understandable.
I'm just ready to live. I sacrificed a lot to be, to stay with him. This is a man who doesn't want to go out. And my thing is, a husband and a wife, we should be going out together to experience things together. It could be a restaurant, a trip, or whatever. That's not what he wants to do. And I went back on that because he didn't want to do it. Go away on a trip or something, things like that. And I'm not hard to please. I just like to go on a little ride, and I'm happy.
So let me ask you something, Ms. Washington. These things that you are wanting, did you ask him? Did you talk to him about those things?
Yes.
So these are things that you wanted from him?
Yes. And
what I'm saying is, you're talking about love, and now that you are out of the situation, now what is your, I'm going somewhere with this. My thing to you have a sense to say that you're free, right? But are you?
I'm not free from the marriage.
Okay.
But I am free from dealing with or wanting, I just want to be me. I'm outgoing. I like to talk to people. I like to go out. I like to, jazz clubs or whatever. Because you don't want to do it, I can't wait for you anymore. So I just go.
Yeah, but this is where I'm going with this. Because my daughter went through it. A lot of people who have been in domestic different relationships that are toxic. My thing would say to you would be, take time for you. Take time to heal. Take time to love you. And the most people don't take time. They take that sense of, I'm out of this situation. And sometimes the things that you yearn for, somebody come along, hey, would you like to do this? Would you like to do that? And it's the opposite sex. Don't get me wrong. It's how people, they get caught up.
Right.
And before you know it, you're into another relationship. What usually happens, we wind up taking baggage from one relationship into the next without actually being healed. So, I would say to you, in a sense, take this time to get to know you. Your kids are grown. Right now, y'all are separated. You're not with each other. Take time to learn you, discover who you really are. Sometimes, like you say, we do lose ourselves in different relationships when we don't really know who we are because we want to make somebody else happy. But learn to love you. Find out about Miss Washington, discover things about you.
Thank you. That's what I'm doing. I'm loving me, and I'm enjoying life.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen. So, before we close, what advice would you want to leave with the viewers before we actually close? Are you thinking about even writing a book at this time?
I have been told to start writing a book. I have been told. Funny you say that. He's been on me now for about 4 or 5 months, and he just recently kind of like, you need to write a book, Miss Washington. It needs to go out. And the reason that he wants me to write the book is if I decide to run for a particular seat, it's already out there, and I don't have to worry about somebody coming back saying, oh, you were this and you were that. All I can do is say now, go read my book. But I made it out.
So what's holding you back? That's confirmation. You know that, right?
Yes. I have 2 weeks to decide. Within 2 weeks, hopefully I will be making an announcement that I am going to run.
Oh, okay. Run for what?
I'm thinking about city council seat.
Okay. Oh, you're thinking about running politically. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I believe in having a mind that's locked and loaded,
Mm-hmm.
staying focused,
Mm-hmm.
putting him first.
Yes.
It's nothing can stop you.
Exactly. I'm non-stoppable right now.
Well, thank you once again.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Washington, for coming on the show
Thank you.
and being able to tell your story.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
And once again, thank you for watching The David Robinson Show. Real talk, real people, real conversations. Until
You're
next time.
watching The David
Peace out.
Robinson Show.
On the Coyote Man Show Network.
Real talk, real people, real conversation.